Pickerings Gin, as it is, began in 2013. So our owners are Marcus Pickering and Matt Gamble, and they're a couple of friends. They've been working together for about 10, 15 years. I think they've known each other for even longer. And they were in construction, funnily enough. And the space where we have our distillery, Summer Hall now, used to be the Dick Vet, or the old vet school for Edinburgh University. Throughout the time they've known each other, they've been sort of distilling on a pot still on Marcus's wife's cooker top. And then in 2012, rather sadly, Marcus's father passed away. Now, Mr. Pickering, the original Mr. Pickering, was he was a polymath, really. He was a jazz clarinetist, a trumpeter as well. He drew cartoons for the Guardian newspaper. He did all sorts of stuff. He wrote poems. He just wrote in general, and so had loads of papers and things that were passed on to Marcus when his father passed away. And in amongst all of that was an old recipe written on the back on a bit of brown paper. And on the top of this, top corner of this bit of paper, it said 17th of July, 1947, and had a list of ingredients. And at the top of the list was juniper, and then it said lemon peel, lime peel, coriander seed, cardamom, cloves, anise, fennel, and cinnamon or cassia bark. And the guys looked at this and they thought, this is we recognize this as a gin recipe. And they set about trying to recreate this recipe that they had. Now, on kind of further inspection and asking around about the family, it turns out it was an old family recipe that had come out of India in 1947, just after Indian independence. And they'd written it down and they put it away safely somewhere and forgotten about it for 70 years. So they took over a space in what was the small animal hospital. The old dog and the cat kennels, and they completely refurbished. They went in, they gutted it totally, and started building themselves a distillery to Matt's design. And when we say they built the distillery, we literally mean the guys built. They painted the floors, they knocked through the walls, they tiled the walls, they put in all the infrastructure, which Matt had designed. Matt is a trained engineer. He designed all of the workings and absolutely everything, including the heating system for the still. And they built that. They put that in a year. So we founded the company in 2013 and did our first distillation in 2014. So our distillation, the type of gin we make is a London dry gin, which means we put everything inside the still in one go, and we distill it off, and all we add after that is water to dilute. All of the systems that we use, all of the methods that we use to distill are entirely done by hand. So we do our distillation insofar as you can boil alcohol by hand. We do that in our custom-built stills, which use it's a bain-marie heating system. So we dip the stills in a big bowl of water, basically, a big insulated jacket of water that we then heat with standard domestic hot water boiler elements, which allows us to give the exact right amount of heat at the exact right time to our ingredients, which means we get a beautifully full flavoured, really fresh, immediate flavours in our gin, but also it's distilled in a very, very gentle way. I like to sort of speak to people about it and compare it to making good soup or good gravy. It's sort of slow and low. If you boil all your soup ingredients, for example, you put everything in the pot, you turn on the heat really, really high, and as soon as it boils, technically you have soup. But what you really have is kind of slightly hot veggie water in there, and it doesn't taste like much. But if you leave it on a low heat for a long, long time, you get every single flavour comes out, flavours develop. And what it also does with that lack of heat or less heat than traditional distilling, it gives us a beautiful, soft flavour. It gives us a real smooth alcohol as well, which makes it a very, very easy drinking, very distinctive gin. So we do all of our distillation in our facility, in the old kennels in Summer Hall Distillery. And then we do all of our dilution as well, completely by hand. We use our distillery manager, Chris, gets up a ladder with a big jug of water and a hydrometer. And he literally does pencil and paper maths while adding water, checking temperature, checking alcohol by volume. And he'll start by pouring jugs and jugs of water in and end up by pouring water in to our big 500 litre containers drop by drop, literally drop by drop by drop, in order to get that ABV just perfect. After that, we move everything onto our bottling line, which again is in the distillery as well, and we do absolutely every part of that bottling in-house and by ourselves. So we fill the bottles by hand, we do all of our quality checking by hand and by eye on the line, and we hand label, and then every single bottle has a wax finish on it, and all of those wax finishes are completely hand dipped.